You know, if you're a bow hunter, you've no doubt heard the buzzwords kinetic energy and momentum, and you've probably heard them a lot in recent years because they're used a lot in the archery industry. And these are really important numbers. Both are measurements gained from equations from both your arrow weight and velocity. And the reason they're important to bow hunters is they tell you what kind of energy your arrow is carrying downrange, your ballistics in essence. And the reason that's important, and a few details that are important for bow hunters to know about it, is that by changing a few things, you know, about your setup, you can perhaps gain some more velocity and get a boost to your kinetic energy, or you can shoot a heavier arrow and maybe get a boost to your momentum, or some combination of both. And the reason that that's important is that can tell you, you know, are you shooting enough bow to kill a big animal like an elk or a moose, or is the bow that your wife or girlfriend or son with a light draw weight and a short draw length, is it really enough to tackle whitetails, you know, at close range? And those figures are really important. And just to kind of use an example, this is my bow. This is a Hoyt Spider Turbo. I've been shooting it for a couple of years. I really like it. But since I've been shooting it, I've always shot an Easton Flatline carbon shaft. Pretty good arrow, but it's a pretty lightweight arrow. And up until this point, I've really only gone after deer and turkeys and a few hogs with it. But this year I've drawn an elk tag, so I wanted to use a little bit heavier arrow shaft to hopefully boost my momentum and get a little extra penetration. So what I did, I went to just an Easton Axis arrow. It's 9.5 grains per inch. It's not super heavy, but it does give me a pretty good weight boost. And now that I've got my bow dialed in for it, I'm going to weigh these finished arrows, because, you know, with your weight, you also have to weigh the weight of the wrap, the broadhead, the fletching, the knock, all that stuff. So it's just easiest to put that all on a scale at once. And also run it through a chronograph to see what my new speeds are, because I'm sure it's going to slow down a little bit since I swapped over from the flatline shafts. Once I've got those numbers, I'm going to use Realtree's new Kinetic Energy and Momentum calculator to get my final energy numbers. And this is a new tool that we've just created for Realtree.com. It's super cool, it's super easy to use, and you know, some other arrow companies have these tools out there, and they're all pretty good. What separates ours apart is I think ours is a little more user-friendly. Our arrow weights are built into a sliding scale, and we also have our velocities built into a sliding scale. You can adjust that by single digits and hit enter, and it's going to calculate out the numbers for you. It's going to spit out those numbers for you, tell you what your kinetic energy figures are, tell you what your momentum is, and also give you recommendations on what type of game your bow is suitable for. You know, is it a really lightweight setup that you probably should limit, you know, to whitetails at close range with a sharp fixed blade broadhead? Is it something that's really fast that works with a big mechanical broadhead for hunting antelope out west? Or is this something that's lobbing a big heavy arrow, maybe not quite as fast, but it's packing a lot of momentum to punch through an elk or a moose up close? And that's what it's all about. And you know, you can play with this thing, have fun with it. We've certainly had a good time creating it, and I think it's going to be a valuable tool for bow hunters to use years down the road. So I'm going to figure out what the weight of this new arrow in my setup is and how fast it's going. I'll plug the numbers right in there, and hopefully it'll tell me I've got a good setup to use on elk this fall. So I'm just going to plug these numbers in. This is, as I said, Realtree's brand new Kinetic Energy and Momentum calculator. Works on a sliding scale on a computer. When you downsize it to a phone, you'll just punch your numbers in, but it works just the same. Works very well. So up here's my arrow weight. I'm going to go with my old arrows and just kind of do a comparison here. My old arrows were 367 grains, and this is about a single digit, so it's a little bit touchy. My old arrow speed was 300 feet per second on the dot. That's pretty fast out of a 60-pound bow. So there we go. So I'll spit out the numbers, and you can see here I've got 73.3 foot-pounds of kinetic energy, 0.48 momentum potential, and the recommendation there is for whitetail size game. And I think that's a pretty good recommendation. But now we'll compare this. My new arrows, the Easton Axis arrows, are significantly heavier. I weighed two of them. One of them was 409.3, the other one was 410, so we'll just settle on 410 there. I lost a fair amount of speed, about 15 feet per second. So the speeds that I was coming out with, I averaged out to about 285. So I'm going to spit out those new numbers. And you can see I gained a little bit of kinetic energy. I gained a pretty good little amount of momentum there. And my icon moved up to the next size animal. and that's the goal that I was trying to get at there. Now, obviously, you know, these things aren't set in stone. If your momentum numbers don't quite match up to the animal that it's showing, it doesn't mean you can't elk hunt with a lighter arrow. It doesn't mean your arrow's too heavy to deer hunt, or you're not shooting enough bow for this or that. This is just meant to be a guideline, and that's what archers need. We all love to tweak with our equipment and play with our equipment and try to get the results we want. So if you're needing a little more momentum out of your setup, a lot of times you can go to a heavier arrow and it's going to help you out. And if you're looking for a little more speed, maybe get a little more kinetic energy, you want something to shoot a little bit flatter, go with a lighter arrow, maybe swap to a drop away rest, give you a few more feet per second, or even increase your poundage a little bit. And that's part of the fun of archery is making adjustments to get the end result that you need. And this calculator allows you to actually tally up the numbers that you need and tell you if that end result is the one you're looking for. So again, that's Realtree's Kinetic Energy and Momentum Calculator. It's only available on Realtree.com.